Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 2 of The Liberal Conservative. It's nice to be here with everyone. Today, we are going to be discussing the New Jersey gubernatorial race. Primaries are happening June 10th. And then the general election is in November. So we are going to take a deep dive into New Jersey politics first. And I think last episode we talked about hope, and we talked about how love can win and how we, have the power to change things. But this episode, we're going to really do a deep dive into what that actually looks like. Democracy is messy, and it's difficult. And in order to affect change, whether you're in a blue state or a red state, is kind of irrelevant. People that control either state really are protecting themselves from staying in control. And a lot of times that leads to, all the time, that leads to oligarchy, and it leads to laws that are not helpful for the residents and the citizens of the state, and therefore the country. So before we take a deep dive and talk about the gubernatorial candidates and what they stand for, we're actually going to talk about New Jersey politics and the machine that runs it first. So New Jersey is a really good oiled Democrat machine. Not the kind that builds things, though, right? That's just what they sell you. What they sell you is that if you live in a blue state, you are safe from oppression, you're safe from racism, you live in an inclusive state. And although that may be true to an extent, as I said in the last episode, the politicians and the machine is still part of the same system. It's a machine that grinds and grinds and grinds until everyone gets worn down or bought off. The Democratic Party has the state on lock, not because they serve the people, but because they built a system decades ago, centuries even, designed to keep power, not earn it. The system ran on identity politics, race, religion, loyalty, the surface stuff that kept people divided while the machine kept winning. But times are changing a little bit thanks to social media and thanks to the overload of information that we have on a second-by-second basis. Voters are waking up. We have more educated people, specifically and especially in blue states. People are starting to realize that your last name, your skin color, your zip code, none of that matters if you're still being robbed blind on taxes, housing, healthcare, and education. Identity politics is collapsing. And when the old tools stop working, the machine turns to new ones: outright control, rigging, suppression, undemocratic strong-arm tactics. I'm going to say this next thing that people don't like to question, because at least for myself, I know I grew up in this country, and I grew up, thinking that we were fair and that we were the heroes of the world. And when that illusion burst, you have to come to grips with some true reality. And that is the following. Are elections real? Do our votes actually count? And here's the uncomfortable truth. Winners are pre-selected. Elections are just a formality. County party bosses pick who runs, donors pick who gets funded, media picks who gets airtime. The only time this system actually shakes is when the people show up in force. Low turnout equals easy to cheat. High turnout equals harder to rig. Your vote doesn't guarantee democracy, but when you don't vote, you guarantee they don't have to pretend. So let's talk about who's running for governor in New Jersey and what they really represent. Now, I'm only going to talk about the actual frontrunners that have a chance to win this election. And in my opinion, there are 3. Now, every time that I say win an election, or that I'm talking about an election, I'm not talking about just 20, 30, 40% of the voting population going out and vote and picking our elected leaders, because that's not the reality of the election system that we live in, okay? I'm talking about who is being funded, who is being pushed to the top by the machine where we do not actually have control over. So first things first is going to be Stephen Phillip. He's the machine's golden boy, mayor of Jersey City, real estate's best friend, Wall Street quiet partner. What's his record? Cozy deals with developers, tax breaks for luxury condos while working class families get crushed. Ties to Trump, world money, all while pretending to be a Democrat. He's exactly what the machine loves: corporate enough to serve billionaires, polished enough to fool suburban voters, and obedient enough to sign anything he's handed. Side note, I hosted an event last October. I'm in healthcare, and I hosted an event for healthcare professionals, and I met Stephen Phillip's wife. She very assertively said that Donald Trump was going to win. And then she continued to say that she is conservative in policy and basically just was talking to me like a Republican. And she said that when a Republican is in office, a Democrat is more likely to win the governorship of New Jersey, and that she was sure he was going to win. And she said it with a smirk, almost like she knew. And in retrospect, she did know, because insiders know. And she was just talking about the fact that she wanted him to win because she wants to save money on taxes. She's a physical therapist, and she owns a lot of physical therapies locations in New Jersey. So I definitely will not be voting for Stephen Phillip because he is actually not a Democrat. And if you know anything about Jersey City, rents are sky high. He's done nothing for the middle class. He's been the mayor of Jersey City since 2013. And lately in town halls, he's been talking Republican talking points, very blatantly, almost in your face, like, this is what I'm going to do and you're going to like it, probably because he is the machine's choice. And if we don't show up in force, he is most likely going to become the next governor of New Jersey. And that will not be good for our beautiful blue state. The next person is Mickey Sherrill. Mickey Sherrill on paper is absolutely fantastic. She has so much experience. She is the soft opposition, though. She's a former Navy pilot, polished, moderate, respectable. Sounds good, right? But look closer. Sherrill is establishment approved, votes safe, speaks safe, won't rock the boat, won't flip the table. She polls well. Suburban moms love her, but the machine isn't scared of her because they know she'll keep the engine running, just quieter. And my final pick for the top three is Ras Baraka. And he is the wild card. He is also the one that I will be voting for. The real threat, he's the real threat. Mayor of Newark, grassroots built, loved in the streets. He doesn't owe the machine. He owes the people who actually vote for him. That's dangerous to the machine. Not because he's chaotic, but because he's independent. He's proof that politics can't be built from the bottom up, not the top down. For the machine, that's scarier than any scandal. It's real democracy, and they hate it. So what will happen? Who will win? And I want to talk about ballot stuffing. So what's going to happen? Well, if nothing changes, and if turnout stays low, Phillip walks into the governor's mansion. But if people show up, Ras has a shot to break the machine. So what is ballot stuffing? It's not some old 1800s fraud trick. No. It's real. It's happening. It's happened. And it's dangerous. Ballot stuffing is when fake votes are added and real votes are destroyed, or ballots are manipulated. It's most common in low turnout election primaries like this one. They can't stuff a stadium full of voters, but they can stuff a small gym of voters who didn't show up. So we are going to skip now ahead and keep going and talk about the real vetting questions. Property taxes, the great scam. New Jersey has the highest property taxes in America, year after year. You're told it's because we invest in schools, but where does the money actually go? Property taxes are collected locally by towns and cities. A big chunk is earmarked for education, but not directly into the classrooms. It first goes into bloated municipal budgets, where town officials, school boards, and administrators carve it up, before it ever reaches teachers or students. Real estate insiders get development tax breaks, administrators pad their salaries. Consultants and contractors, often politically connected, get no-bid contracts. Then there's the Abbott districts, the original bait and switch. Abbott districts were created after 1985 lawsuit Abbott versus Burke, which argued that poorer urban school districts were not getting fair funding under New Jersey's Constitution. The state Supreme Court ruled that these districts were entitled to funding parity, meaning state money would boost them up to match wealthy suburban districts. Where does the money come from? State tax dollars, of course, collected from all residents, redistributed by the legislature into these 31 special districts. Where does the money go? Once again, not the students and not the teachers. District administrators and municipal leaders. Instead of going straight into the classrooms, it gets swallowed up by six-figure superintendent salaries, inflated construction contracts, consulting firms for education reform, patronage jobs disguised as community programs. Who's aware of this? Everybody. State legislators, local mayors, governors, the NGEA, the union leaders, they all know. And they keep cutting checks anyway because it's not about students, it's about patronage. The full list of Abbott districts: Asbury Park, Bridgeton, Burlington City, Camden, East Orange, Elizabeth, Garfield, Gloucester City, Harrison, Hoboken, Irvington, Jersey City, Keansburg, Long Branch, Millville, New Brunswick, Newark, Orange, Passaic, Patterson, Perth Amboy, Phillipsburg, Plainfield, Pleasantville, Trenton, Union City, Vineland, West New York, City of Burlington, and Neptune Township. Superintendents often double dip, and that leads into a pension scam. What is double dipping, you ask? It's when public officials collect a full salary for their current job, plus a pension from a previous job, even while they're still working. Meanwhile, what about the teachers? Well, the teachers still technically have pensions, but Chris Christie changed everything in 2011, forced higher contributions, suspended COLAs, cut retiree health care for new hires. Most teachers now pay up to 100% of their health care premiums. Translation: teachers pay more, teachers get less, while superintendents cash both salary plus pensions. I'm going to give you some examples of real names of superintendents that are currently double dipping. Joseph Meloche from Cherry Hill, David Trethaway from Manchester Township, David Michelli from New Providence, Susan Compton from Hoboken. She's the former superintendent, by the way. So, where are the unions? Aren't they supposed to fight for the teachers and for their pensions and for their insurance and for their pay salaries? Well, unions were supposed to protect the teachers. Now they protect the machine. Union leadership cuts deals with politicians. They protect senior members and leadership jobs, not new teachers. They trade political endorsements for favors. Who gets screwed? Again, the taxpayers, the students, and the teachers. What is the solution? How can we fix this? Well, my suggestion is a real audit system. Independent audits, elected resident financial oversight boards, 4-year terms only, and then public accounts payable and accounts receivable reports. We also need to end no-bid contracts, competitive bidding only. Salary caps, tie salaries to student outcomes. Direct funding to classrooms, 70% of funds to teachers, students, and supplies. Community oversight board with veto power over budgets. End double dipping, no pension plus salary combos. Full public list. Restore teachers' rights, reinstate COLAs, and protect healthcare. So, do you guys remember Menendez and how the machine decided to just eat its own, basically? Well, want to know what happens when the machine turns on you? Bob Menendez. The official story they sold you is longtime U.S. Senator. Federal prosecutors charged him with accepting bribes, gold bars hidden in jackets, cash stuffed in closets, gifts, and favors in exchange for political influence. His wife, Nadine Menendez, allegedly involved as well. The media painted as a moral crusade. We have to clean up corruption. What's the real story? The real story is that Menendez didn't become corrupt overnight. He's been part of the machine forever, and they knew it. Corruption is tolerated. Corruption is part of the deal, actually. Until you become inconvenient. Menendez pissed off power players behind the scenes. He clashed with powerful, guess who? AIPAC donors. He pushed back against newer DNC leadership trying to refresh the party's image, and he became a liability. Loud, stubborn, and hard to control. So the machine didn't arrest him for being corrupt. They arrested him because they were done with him. They needed his seat open for a fresh puppet, someone younger, cleaner, and easier to control. That's Andy Kim at the moment. And, Tammy Murphy, governor's wife, tried a dynastic power grab before dropping out. They always swap the player, but keep the system. Same thing happened to Cuomo, right? America's hero during COVID, and then all of a sudden, sexual harassment scandals broke. Multiple women came forward. Cuomo resigned. The real story, Cuomo had been protected for years, right? He comes from a family of politicians. His father was beloved. He's aggressive, he's ruthless, but loyal to the machine. Then he stepped out of line during COVID. He became too powerful. He was too more popular than Trump. Bigger than Biden even, the media coverage. So rumors swirled about presidential ambitions. The machine didn't mind his scandals until he became competition. Coordinated media attacks, investigations, instant outrage, and there goes Cuomo. Who replaced him? Kathy Hochul. She stepped in, smiled for the cameras, played nice with Wall Street and party donors, new face, same system. So, billionaires are moving on our government. And while we're fighting over which puppet gets the governorship, the real threat is walking in through the back door. Billionaires are buying governments. Peter Thiel wants to buy Washington, D.C., privatize it, deregulate it. It's a billionaire's playground, basically. Does that sound crazy? It shouldn't, because Larry Ellison already owns 95% of Lanai, Hawaii. Larry Ellison was the CEO of Oracle. He is a billionaire. He actually bought Lanai, Hawaii for a song and a dance. It was $300 million. And let me tell you something. I went to Lanai a couple of years ago, and when he was first setting up his Four Seasons hotels, because there's two big hotels. It's a very small island. There's two very big hotels. One is by the beach and Four Seasons, and the other one is called Sensei, and it's more like a meditation resort style place, right? Everybody drives a Tesla. It looked really modern, but the homes, whatever homes are left that belong to the actual people of Lanai, are run down. You can imagine how difficult and how costly it is to get any construction material into an island so remote. And everyone on the island basically works for the Four Seasons in some way, shape, or form, and is otherwise, not making a ton of money unless you're living there and you're working in the mainland remotely. So it's not a theory, it's happening, and it's been happening. And Fulop is just the kind of governor who would open the door wide open for these sort of antics to happen. So can we stop it? Only if we're awake. Only if we fight smarter. And only if we start showing up at the polls and stop showing up for theater. So here's the thing, guys. Government wants you to stay focused on big elections because they know that those big elections, they're not letting us pick those leaders, right? Those big elections, they're picking the leaders, okay? Everything is a facade and is theater. They keep you focused on those big elections on purpose because it's too hard for them as a machine to stay focused and resource and pull money on every small election in every district in every state across the country. But those are the elections that you have to be aware of. Those are the elections that you have to show up for. Because the only way that we're going to change this mess is literally district by district, state by state. That's the only way. If you notice elections that don't, notice this and start paying attention. Elections that don't get national attention, where there is a progressive candidate running, almost always the progressive candidate wins. Why? And then we find out about it after the fact. Progressive candidate so-and-so won this seat. And it's usually a flip from red because there's no national attention on it. That means they're not paying attention to it either. So wherever you live, you need to be in tune with your local politics. And that I'm talking about your school board, your council people, your police chief, like anything that you can vote on, you show up and you vote. You vet your candidates, you ask the proper questions, and you show up and you vote. Okay, so for this election that we're about to have, the primary on June 10th, I am going to vote for Ras Baraka. That I've made up my mind. I was going between Ras Baraka and Mickey Sherrill, but I want to put my money where my mouth is and go against the grain. I want real change for the American people. I want real change for the state of New Jersey. I'm going to pick someone that's going to make life better for New Jerseyans. That's my choice, is Ras Baraka. So the final plan here is that we have to be aware of ballots and bullshit. They've been lying to us and rigging it and pre-selecting winners. They have you watching the presidential races like it's the Super Bowl, when the real power is being stolen quietly, town by town, district by district. Elections matter, just not the ones they tell you to care about. The big ones are already locked up. The real battles are the ones nobody's watching. Local elections, school boards, city councils, state legislatures, win the town, win the district, stack the team. Partner with others who aren't bought and build the bench. That's how you rewrite the game. Ground up, not top down. It's slower, it's harder, but it's the only real way to affect change. This is how we win, district by district, team by team, one real election at a time. So I'm going to leave you with this. Today, I watched Hamilton. My daughter was over and this evening, and it's one of her favorite shows. And so we watched it. She fell asleep while we were watching it. And of course, I always cry because, number one, Lin-Manuel wrote a beautiful show and really made the whole story so new and fresh that I so relate to the struggle of all of these people. And if you watch that and you really pay attention, you realize that this kind of corruption and this kind of ego and this kind of, push and pull was there from the very beginning. But these people and these founders, although flawed, had grit. They had so much grit. And they did something that no one at the time thought was going to be possible. Can you imagine breaking away from England? They were the biggest power, breaking away. That's basically like, it would be the equivalent, not even the equivalent, but similar to, let's say, Texas breaking away from the United States. They've been saying that for the longest time, that they're gonna leave and they're gonna be their own country. Well, it would be something as big as that, but while fighting a war and while fighting people in your own country that didn't want it to happen and winning. That is just pure grit. So I struggled and went back and forth on how to do this podcast and what to say and how to give you the truth, which is uncomfortable, but also how to give you hope. And for a while, I just was thinking I'm just going to give them truth and just say we're doomed. But the truth is that humanity doesn't operate like that. We cannot exist if it's not that we're hoping for something or working towards something or having a goal. So we can do this. It's going to be hard because there's so much money working against us. And, there's more money at the top, like Bernie always says, than there is on the bottom 40%. So like it's not an impossibility though, because these people that fought the war in 1776 were also not the richest, right? England was. So grit always beats greed. And we will do this too. We have to stay focused, and we have to be aware, and we have to protect ourselves, and we can do this. I have full confidence in the people of the United States and in our country and in our checks and balances that we can move this experiment forward. See you at the polls. And don't fret if you have not registered to vote. I'll tell you again, it is not too late. You can show up at your ballot location, at your polling place, and fill out a provisional ballot, and your ballot will be counted once they verify your identity. So don't forget, show up at the polls. See you there. Everybody vote.